And we're back. I'm Bob Hoganson, the host of Martin County's official access show here on 1450 WSTU and 1590 WPSL. We just spoke with Kevin Abate, our Director of Parks, had a great conversation with him. We teased ahead to our next guest. I'd like to welcome Kylie Zerbel, our Mosquito Control Division Manager. Hello, Kylie. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, Bob. Thanks for having me.
So it's not quite the rainy season yet, but wanted to bring you on today because mosquitoes are always a big deal in the Treasure Coast in South Florida. It's hot, it's humid. These little guys breed in the smallest amount of water, and I know we have very aggressive programs to help manage really what is a public health hazard, and some of these mosquitoes can actually transmit diseases and things of that nature. One of the new things I know we're doing is these gambusia fish. We've kind of had a program for a while with these fish. Now we have a very aggressive gambusia fish breeding program. These are the type of fish that you can actually put in ponds and canals, and they will eat mosquito larvae. Kylie, tell us about the program with these fish and what they're doing for the county.
Well, through the support of the Department of Health, we were able to have some extra money around. So we used it to invest in a 1,000-gallon fish tank. So basically, we're able to rear our own fish on site in our shop, and we're making about 20 babies a day. So we're going to be able to use these fish to stock them in standing water throughout the county.
And people can actually call you guys and request fish for their ponds or their canals in their backyards and things like that, right?
Yes, they can. They can call us up, request fish, and we'll drop them off at their house, and we can stock them in the water for you. It's a great service. It's something that we provide so that we don't have to rely so much on chemicals. So these fish can eat their body weight in mosquitoes every single day, so they can eat hundreds upon hundreds of larvae. So they are just voracious. They eat a ton, and they are one way to control the mosquitoes without having to send out our spray truck.
And that's really when you want to hit the mosquitoes as early in the larva stage, right? Because once they're out flying around, yeah, you can swat them with a fly swatter if you can catch them, or smack them between the hands, of course, or spray with the Raid or something like that. But once they're out and about, it's hard to control them. You really want to get them in the larva stage before they even become adult mosquitoes.
Absolutely. So you can imagine it's a lot easier to find standing water and to target that than it is to find and kill a flying mosquito. So when we actually send our trucks out, we have to send them at a certain time so that we're not hurting other organisms like our bees and our butterflies, while we're also trying to target the mosquitoes. And they have to be actively flying in the air when the truck goes by in order for them to get knocked down.
And you're referring to the fogger trucks that you may have seen come through your neighborhoods. It's like a pickup truck with basically a mist coming out the back.
Yeah.
And you really only use those under certain circumstances at certain times. But I know people ask a lot of questions about when those trucks are going to be in their neighborhoods. How can people find out about when a truck is coming into their neighborhood?
So all of our spraying is done on an as-needed basis, so there is no schedule, and that's a common misconception that we encounter. So basically, we have 25 traps set out throughout the county. We look at them, we see the areas where we have a lot of mosquito activity, especially if those mosquitoes are vector mosquitoes, which are ones that transmit disease. And then we send the trucks based upon that. So if you go onto our website, the Martin County website, and you type in the search bar,
martin.fl.us.
That one, yeah. And you type in the search bar mosquito control, you can find some links there. So we have a map that we update every day by 4 p.m., and that shows where we're going to spray that evening. But we know that can be kind of difficult for people. So due to a lot of residents suggesting this new service, we decided to implement a prior notification email service. So if you go onto that website,
martin.fl.us,
that one, and type in mosquito control, you can go to prior notification for mosquito spraying, and you can enter in your email, enter in your residential address, and then you can use that information to figure out which zone you're in, and then we will send you an email anytime we're going to be in your neighborhood that night.
I know people get a little concerned when they see those fogging machines come through, but they're safe for humans. They're safe for pets. They really just target these specific mosquitoes, specifically the Aedes aegypti. Am I saying that right?
You are saying that right.
I know
Good job.
I know
my coaching sessions are working.
I know, right? I know there's a lot of, excuse me, there's a lot of different types of mosquitoes out there, but that is particularly one of the dangerous ones because they do transmit the West Nile virus. They don't, not West Nile. They transmit
Zika virus.
The Zika virus.
Dengue virus,
dengue
which we had in Martin County.
So obviously, in high times of mosquito season, in the wet season, you do want to, take precautions when you go outside. I think everybody knows that. But I think one of the things that people maybe don't realize is that if you see a mosquito around your house, you may be the one actually breeding it in your yard or somewhere close by, your neighbors or someone, because these guys only have a small radius around from the time that they're born. Talk about that a little bit.
So Aedes aegypti is a very, very sneaky mosquito. So it only needs a very tiny little bit of water to breed in. So maybe a bottle cap, like you mentioned before, or flower pots. We find them a lot in clogged gutters or kiddie pools, kiddie toys, anything like that. So it just needs a very little bit of water, and it can breed, and they hang out around your house. They only fly about 600 feet from their breeding site, and they primarily feed on people. So they love human blood. It tastes great to them. So they're going to bite you as often as they can. And one of the interesting things about Aedes aegypti is that the behavior that it employs to bite people, it's very tentative. So it kind of, it will stick its proboscis in you.
Very technical.
Yeah, very technical. That's what it's called. Or, some people call it its sucker. So it'll stick it in you, and then it'll pull it out, and then it'll do it again and again and again and again. So it's like getting all these multiple tiny little shots, and that's why it spreads so many diseases.
You're listening to Official Access with Martin County on 1450 WSTU and 1590 WPSL. I'm Bob Hoganson, the host of today's show. I'm the operations manager for Martin County Television. But today I'm wearing my host hat, and we're talking about the vampires of Martin County, the little tiny vampires, little blood-sucking, annoying little creatures called mosquitoes, and specifically the Aedes aegypti mosquito. I'm here with our esteemed Martin County Mosquito Control Division Manager, Kylie Zerbel. Kylie, thank you again for being here today. We talked about how the mosquitoes are close to your house. Previously, I've done some video stories with the Mosquito Control Department, and I never really fully realized till I went out with a couple of your crews about how small amount of water these things can breed in. And you said it, but I think it bears mentioning again, is that they can breed in so much as a cap of a water bottle that maybe didn't get recycled or didn't get thrown away, that's just sitting in your yard, and it rains or your sprinklers come on overnight. And that little cap, it takes about 6 to 7 days for an egg to hatch in there, a larvae to hatch. And also things like bags of potato chips thrown away that maybe blow down the street. If there's any place for water to gather as much as like about an ounce of water, they can really breed. Some of the more obvious things that you might not think about are bigger places of water around containers, the little trays under your pots outside, and also the bromelade plants. I know that they become a problem too because they're so cup-like. It rains, the sprinklers get in there, and so people really need to be careful and flush those out and things of that nature. One of the things you guys really preach, there's a couple different names it goes by, drain and cover or tip and toss, we like to say. Talk about what homeowners should do around their house to make sure that they're not contributing to the breeding of these little vampires.
Well, the best thing that you can do is to complete a weekly inspection. So that's really important that you do it consistently because it only takes a week to breed a mosquito. So basically, if you go around your yard and you look for areas that collect water, you can either throw the container out, you can tip it over, you could drill holes in it so it no longer collects water, Or you could flush it out weekly. So sometimes, like the bromeliad plants that you discussed a little earlier, if you take your hose and you just flush that out weekly, you're going to prevent a lot of mosquitoes from breeding in those plants.
And that's important to flush it out, get fresh, flush out the old water. If there's new water in there, that's okay, but make sure you flush it out in a couple of days. There's also commercially available larvicides, right? The little granules you can throw in your bromelates. Talk about that a little bit.
So there are a bunch of different consumer products available that homeowners can buy, and they can apply them to different containers around their yard. So we particularly recommend any products that contain BTI or methoprene. So BTI is a bacteria, and the mosquito larvae will eat it, and then that will kill them. And then methoprene essentially prevents them from ever becoming adults. So they just stay as larvae forever until they die.
Really interesting stuff. Talking with Kylie Zerbel, our mosquito control manager at Martin County. One other program you guys have among many that I wanted to bring up is your tire drive. I know that a lot of people end up having old tires on the side of their house, or outside of the garage or whatever, and those tires are a prime spot because for mosquitoes to breed, because they get so neglected. You forget about them. They're half under a tarp or something like that. And I've actually gone out and done a story with you guys where we went and looked through some old tires, and we scooped out in a big, or a cup's worth at the end of a big stick, essentially, scooping out the water, and you can just see the larvae like swimming around in there, and these things about ready to hatch out. Talk about the tire drives and how important it is to get those off of your property so that old stuff like that isn't collecting these larvae.
So mosquitoes absolutely love tires. So tires collect water, but they also collect leaves, and other things lay their eggs in tires. So there's always plenty of food in a tire when it collects water. So the mosquitoes will lay their eggs, and then the larvae will develop in there. And a single tire can produce hundreds upon hundreds of mosquitoes. So every April, this is our second annual tire drive, but we are going to conduct a tire recycle mania through a collaboration with our parks department and utilities. And essentially what we do is we have a roll-off located at various parks throughout the county, and we collect tires. People can come and drop them off for free. So that's kind of an incentive. Come by, give us your tire, we'll get rid of it for you, and we'll help you reduce mosquitoes around your house by doing that.
It's a really good program that we have. It was very successful last year. A lot of people, you got a lot of those tires out of people's houses that are contributing to the mosquitoes. Plus, you're recycling the tires, so it's also a good thing for the environment as well.
And that's why we do it around April. So we do it before mosquito season really kicks off, and then we do it in honor of Earth Day.
And when does officially mosquito season kick off? When does it get really bad? Essentially the rainy season, I would imagine.
As soon as we get rain, we're going to see more mosquitoes. So right now, because it's relatively dry, if there's mosquitoes around your house, it's likely that it's Aedes aegypti because of sprinklers and sources that we as people are leaving around for them.
So it's really important to remember, and this is one thing that I took away when I've done some video stories with the mosquito control department, is that if you see a mosquito, it is coming from somewhere very close by, somewhere in your neighborhood, maybe on your property. And so then it becomes kind of your responsibility. If you want to help weed out these mosquitoes, it's really important that everyone takes their own responsibility and goes around their yard once a week and make sure. I know immediately after I started really diving into some of the things you guys do, this is a couple years ago, I went home, and that same day after I got home from work, I went around and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a little pot. Oh, there's a plant. There's a kids' toys are another thing. You leave out the kids' toys with any kind of saucer shape cup holder type thing where water can get in there. I mean, everyone's got kids' toys in their yard, it seems like.
Yeah.
So we are talking with Kylie Zerbel, our mosquito control manager here. I'm Bob Hoganson. You're listening to Official Access with Martin County on 1450 WSTU and 1590 PSL. Kylie, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming in today and sharing some of what the Mosquito Control Division is doing. Again, check your property. Make sure you're not helping breed these mosquitoes. You can go to the county website for more information. You can go to martin.fl.us, www.martin.fl.us, and there's a search bar there where you can literally just type in mosquito control, and you're going to get their page, and you're going to get a lot of information. There's phone numbers in there. There's email contacts, and really that goes for any department in the county. It's a very easily navigated website where you can search for any information you want. That's martin.fl.us. I would also suggest, for more information and follow county happenings, you check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Martin County Board of County Commissioners. But if you just search for Martin County Board of Commissioners, you should be able to pop it up real easy. We're also on Twitter. You can find us there with an easy search for Martin County, as well as Instagram. And so we're also posting lots of information on there. You're going to see a lot of information about mosquito control and what they're doing. You're going to see stuff about any number of things that the county is doing here at Martin County, and you'll find that on social media. Again, Bob Hoganson here with Official Access with Martin County. Kylie Zerbel, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be right back with some of your favorite departments in the entire county. We're talking about libraries coming up next.